The rain hammered against the windows of my small apartment in Seattle, mirroring the storm raging inside me. My name is Silas, and until a week ago I thought I had it all. A good job as a software developer, a cozy life, and a wife, Meredith, whom I adored. We had been married for 7 years, a whirlwind romance that started at a local coffee shop. She was a vibrant artist, full of life and color, everything I wasn't. I was the grounded one, the steady hand, and she was my muse, my inspiration. Our life wasn't perfect, of course. We had our disagreements, our moments of stress, but we always worked through them. Or so I thought. It started subtly. Meredith began working late more often, attending gallery openings and networking events that I wasn't invited to. She said it was important for her career, and I supported her. I always supported her. I cooked dinner, did the laundry, and made sure the house was clean so she could focus on her art. I was proud of her ambition, her drive. The first red flag was the phone. She started keeping it glued to her, even in the bathroom. It was password protected, which wasn't unusual, but she would physically shield the screen if I came near. One night I woke up to use the restroom, and I saw her silhouetted against the moonlight, furiously typing away on her phone. When I asked her who she was talking to, she jumped, startled, and said it was just a friend from art school. I tried to dismiss my doubts, to trust her, but the feeling of unease gnawed at me. I started noticing other things: the way she dressed, the new perfume she wore, the secretive smiles she exchanged with her phone. It was like she was a different person, a stranger in my own home. Then came the business trip. Meredith told me she had to go to Portland for a week to meet with a potential client. I offered to drive her to the airport, but she insisted on taking a taxi. She said she had an early meeting and didn't want me to have to get up so early. I kissed her goodbye, told her I loved her, and watched her walk out the door. That night I couldn't sleep. The house felt empty, cold. I kept replaying the last few months in my head, searching for clues, for answers. I told myself I was being paranoid, that I was letting my insecurities get the best of me, but the feeling wouldn't go away. I decided to surprise her. I knew the hotel she was staying at in Portland, the Metropolitan. I thought I would drive down on Wednesday, take her out to dinner, and spend the night. It would be a romantic gesture, a way to show her how much I missed her. I left work early on Wednesday and drove the 3 hours to Portland. I checked into a small hotel near the Metropolitan and called Meredith's room. No answer. I tried again an hour later. Still no answer. I figured she was out with her client, so I decided to walk over to the Metropolitan and wait for her in the lobby. I sat there for hours, watching people come and go. Finally, around 10 p.m., I saw her. She was walking towards the entrance, hand in hand with a man. It wasn't her client. It was someone I knew. Ainsley, a friend she had known since high school. He was a sculptor with a reputation for being a womanizer. They were laughing, their faces close together. As they approached the entrance, they kissed. A long, passionate kiss. The world seemed to tilt on its axis. My heart hammered in my chest and my breath caught in my throat. I felt like I had been punched in the gut. I wanted to scream, to run, to disappear, but I couldn't move. I was frozen, paralyzed by shock and disbelief. They walked past me, oblivious to my presence. I watched them go, their hands still intertwined. I felt a wave of nausea wash over me. I stumbled out of the lobby and into the street, the rain soaking me to the bone. I didn't know where to go, what to do. I just walked aimlessly until I found myself in a park. I sat on a bench, the rain pouring down on me, and wept. The next few days were a blur. I drove back to Seattle, confronted Meredith, and she denied everything at first. She said I was imagining things, that Ainsley was just a friend, that the kiss meant nothing. But I had seen it with my own eyes. I knew the truth. Finally, after hours of arguing, she broke down and confessed. She said she had been unhappy for a long time, that she felt neglected, that Ainsley understood her in a way I didn't. She said it just happened, that she didn't mean to hurt me. I didn't say anything. I just stared at her, my heart breaking into a million pieces. I couldn't believe that the woman I loved, the woman I had devoted my life to, could betray me so callously. I told her to leave. I couldn't bear to look at her. She packed her bags and walked out the door, leaving me alone in the empty house. The divorce was quick and painless. We had no children, no shared assets, so there was nothing to fight over. I didn't want anything from her except to be left alone. After the divorce, I spiraled. I couldn't eat, couldn't sleep, couldn't function. I called in sick to work for weeks. I spent my days in bed, staring at the ceiling, replaying the events in my head, wondering what I had done wrong. My friends tried to help. They took me out for drinks, invited me to parties, tried to set me up with other women. But I wasn't interested. I couldn't imagine ever trusting anyone again. One day I received a letter in the mail. It was from a law firm in Portland. I opened it, curious, and read the contents. It was a cease and desist letter, addressed to Ainsley. Apparently, he had been using Meredith's art to promote his own work without her permission. The letter demanded that he stop immediately or face legal action. I was surprised. I didn't know Meredith was taking legal action against Ainsley. I wondered why. Then a few days later I received another letter. This one was from Meredith herself. It was a handwritten letter filled with apologies and regrets. She said she had made a terrible mistake, that she was sorry for hurting me, that she still loved me. She explained that Ainsley had manipulated her, used her, and then discarded her. She said he had promised to help her career, but he had only been interested in her art and her body. She said she realized too late that I was the only one who truly loved her. I read the letter with a mixture of anger and sadness. Part of me wanted to forgive her, to believe that she was genuinely remorseful, but another part of me knew that I could never trust her again. The damage was done. The trust was broken. I threw the letter in the trash. I couldn't forgive her. I wouldn't forgive her. I decided to move on with my life. I started going to therapy, exercising, and spending time with my friends. I focused on my work and started taking on new projects. Slowly, I began to heal. One day, I was at a coffee shop working on my laptop when I saw her. Meredith. She was sitting at a table across the room, sketching in a notebook. She looked different. Thinner, paler, sadder. I hesitated. Should I go talk to her? Should I ignore her? I decided to walk over and say, "Hello, Meredith," I said, my voice trembling slightly. She looked up, startled. Her eyes widened when she saw me. "Silas," she said, her voice barely a whisper. We stared at each other for a moment, the silence thick with unspoken words. "How are you?" I asked. "I'm okay," she said. "How are you?" "I'm doing well," I said. "I'm happy," she smiled, a sad, wistful smile. "I'm glad," she said. We talked for a few minutes, about the weather, about our jobs, about nothing important. Then I said goodbye and walked away. As I walked out of the coffee shop, I felt a sense of closure. I had seen her, I had talked to her, and I had realized that I no longer loved her. I no longer hated her. I just felt indifferent. I had finally moved on. 6 months later, I met someone new. Her name was Bryn, and she was everything Meredith wasn't. She was kind, compassionate, and genuine. She loved me for who I was, not for what I could do for her. We fell in love, and a year later we got married. I finally found happiness, true happiness. And I realized that sometimes the best revenge is simply moving on and living a good life. But the story doesn't end there. 2 years after my wedding to Bryn, I received a phone call from a number I didn't recognize. I almost didn't answer, but something told me to pick up. "Hello," I said. "Silas, it's Meredith," a weak voice said on the other end. My heart skipped a beat. "Meredith. What do you want?" I need your help," she said, her voice trembling. I hesitated. "What kind of help?" "I'm sick, Silas," she said, "very sick, and I have no one else to turn to." I didn't know what to say. Part of me wanted to hang up, to tell her to go away. But another part of me, the part that still remembered the good times, the part that still had a shred of compassion for her, couldn't do it. "What's wrong?" I asked. "I have cancer," she said. "Stage 4. The doctors say I don't have much time left." I was shocked. "Cancer? I'm so sorry, Meredith. I know I don't deserve your sympathy," she said. "But I don't know what else to do. I have no family, no friends. Ainsley left me as soon as he found out I was sick. I'm all alone." I thought about Bryn, about our happy life together. I thought about the pain Meredith had caused me, the betrayal, the heartbreak. But I also thought about the woman I had once loved, the woman who was now facing death alone. "Where are you?" I asked. "I'm in Portland," she said. "At the hospital. I'll come see you," I said. I hung up the phone and told Bryn everything. She was understanding and supportive. She said I should do what I felt was right. I drove to Portland the next day and went to the hospital. I found Meredith in a small, sterile room. She was pale and frail, her eyes sunken. She looked nothing like the vibrant, beautiful woman I had once known. "Silas," she said, her voice weak. "Thank you for coming." I sat down beside her bed and took her hand. It was cold and bony. "How are you feeling?" I asked. "Not good," she said. "But I'm glad you're here." We talked for hours. She told me about her illness, her regrets, her fears. She apologized again for hurting me, for betraying me. She said she understood if I couldn't forgive her, but she wanted me to know that she was truly sorry. I listened to her, and I realized that I had already forgiven her. Not completely, not entirely, but enough to offer her comfort in her final days. I visited Meredith every day for the next few weeks. I held her hand, read to her, and listened to her stories. I watched her slowly fade away. One morning, I arrived at the hospital to find her room empty. She had passed away during the night. I felt a sense of sadness, but also a sense of peace. She was no longer suffering. She was finally at rest. I attended her funeral in Portland. It was a small, quiet affair. There were only a few people there, me, a couple of nurses from the hospital, and a few old friends from art school. As I stood by her graveside, I thought about our life together, the good times and the bad. I realized that despite everything, I would always cherish the memories we had shared. She had been a part of my life, and she had taught me valuable lessons about love, loss, and forgiveness. I left Portland and returned to Seattle, to my wife, to my happy life. I knew that Meredith's memory would always be with me, but it would no longer haunt me. It would simply be a part of my story, a reminder of the past, and a testament to the power of resilience and the enduring capacity of the human heart. Life is unpredictable, and sometimes it takes unexpected turns. But it's how we navigate those turns that defines us. And I had learned to navigate them with grace, with compassion, and with love.